I don't know. Okay. I just kind of want to say something. Please don't waste so much time hating yourself. And I know it's easier said than done. I've hated myself for a long time. And it's until recently where I've actively chosen to take certain steps to stop that cycle that it was it was really bad. I just straight up bottom line did not like myself. And it was interesting cuz other people like me, but I just didn't like myself. Easier said than done. So what can I do to try to be nicer to myself, to not hate myself? Well, there's a few things you can do. And I'm just going to list these things out first, no beating around the bush. One is try as best as you can to cut out any negative self-talk. I mean, and as much actively as you can. So if you catch yourself a lot being like, you make a mistake and you're like, "Oh, I'm so stupid for that. Oh, that's so dumb. I'm so dumb for that. Oh, of course I would get that wrong. That's so, me." And it's something negative. Try your best to just be aware of those and try to correct them actively until you don't find yourself in those cycles of repetitive pattern of thought. It's kind of like your brain loves patterns. It loves repetitiveness. It loves routine. And so if you get into a cycle of a routine of negative self-talk, of hatred, then that's the routine your brain's going to be accustomed with. And so you want to just try to do your best. It's like a habit. Sometimes you don't even feel that way, and sometimes it's just almost a default thought. So cut out as much negative self-talk actively as you can. You don't need to be perfect. And two, praise yourself as little as it is. Give yourself credit as small as it is. These two things has helped me dramatically. Dramatically. A year ago, I didn't think that I was worth being at peace for myself. I didn't think it was worth it. I am myself. You are the most important person in your life. Without you, there is no life. Without you, there is just nothing for your life. You are the most important person in your life. And I was here thinking that me and my life, I didn't matter anymore. And not in the way that I was gonna end my life or anything like that. I was kind of past that point personally. And of course everyone has their own different journeys and perspectives and everything. But that was the point I was at. And of course taking other steps like wanting to be better has also helped, but those two things was really helped me a lot with and with praising yourself. It doesn't need to be perfect. um it could be something that's so small, being extremely exhausted, getting up in the morning and being like, I woke up. I woke up today. Good for me. Do it as corny as you want, dude. Because in the end, being corny, it doesn't even matter. Be as corny as you want. Wake up and be like this. Who cares? Who cares? I don't. You probably care more than other people do if you're doing something corny, as long as it makes you happy, you know? And I know I sound miserable doing this while I'm saying this, but really, it does make a difference. Giving yourself credit. I'll be going to school late. I'm half an hour away from my community college. Driving to school. I leave my house 15 minutes late. There's physically no way to get there on time. And I'll just sit there. And sometimes I'd be like, but also sometimes, throughout this time, I've been trying to accept being in the present. And if I'm late and there's nothing I can really do about it, then there's nothing I can do about it. And instead of beating myself up, I can't change the past. I can't I can't speed through these lanes like that one Harry Potter scene where it goes beep, 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 beep. I'm not the Flash. So what I do is I drive. Maybe my aux is broken, so I listen to 88.1 K Jazz and I'll just listen. And I'll look at the sky and I'll be like, it is a nice day out today. Just do what's within your control. That's all you can do. It's kind of like trying to change other people's actions. It's just not possible. Um, and of course, there's so many different factors to why each person might not like themselves, different experiences. Maybe someone's telling you things about yourself that they say you shouldn't like about yourself. But you can only control what you do and what you feel. Another thing that's helped me is sometimes I don't know where to start in liking I didn't know where to start with liking myself. Now it's a lot easier because I've been in a pattern for a while of trying to build up these skills of self-love, but I really didn't know where to start. Like, how do I be nicer to myself? I don't know how to do that. All I know is being negative to myself. And when it comes to more, because of course you can cut out, I'm saying cut out second negative self-talk, but the next level, another element that really helps is to incorporate positive self-talk. And that's where I was really stuck. I was really stuck. And what helped me is pointing out not things that I necessarily liked, like positive things, because I wasn't even there yet, just things that I wouldn't change about myself. Things that I was like, okay. And these are things for me specifically. Okay? For each person it's different. And so just because I'm saying something doesn't mean you got to be like, well, I don't have that, you know. You got to find things that are unique to you because all of us are unique. We're all individuals that exist once and only once. And that makes us special within itself. But for me, I was like, I I wouldn't change my hair texture. It's pretty cool. I wouldn't change um what else would I say? I wouldn't change my height. I'm like 5'8". I mean, of course, I could wish I'm a little taller, but I can't wish for things that aren't possible. That's just gonna make me feel bad about things that I just can't control or change. So just giving yourself credit on small things. I was like, I wouldn't change how I think about things, the way I process information, or just something that's unique to you. I'm just throwing out random things. It's kind of, let me see. For me, I wouldn't change because I'm not I don't want to say something and then have it be conflicting to what y- if you're like, oh, well, I don't have that because it's just about how you things that you can see about yourself and be like, I wouldn't change that. Maybe I wouldn't change my cheeks. What I used to hate my cheeks. I thought they were really round. You know what I mean? Or I wouldn't change so many things that like I wouldn't. Yeah. And then from there you can build up to being like, well, noticing things that you like about yourself, almost like you're another person looking at yourself and being like, sometimes in certain situations from a third person, being like, I like that I step up for the right thing. Or if you're a person who's quiet, being like, I like that I'm able to think about things sometimes when other people might just say what's directly on their mind. I can really take in and process information. If you're a loud person, I love that I can just speak my mind and be bold. If you're a person who's more of a leader, I love that I can command a crowd and get unity. If you're a person who likes following a crowd, being like, I love that I feel the trust to be a part of a community. Like, it's just, I love that I have the openness and the open mindedness to be part of something, you know? And it all converts over time. And as long as you keep trying and you keep trying to practice, it'll happen. One thing that I've really noticed throughout this year of self growth. And I'm not done. Trust me, I have a long way that I would like to go. I would like to keep growing and thinking and changing until I can't anymore. It's physically impossible. Until I die, or even if I can beyond death. I don't know what happens. I haven't experienced it. I'm not particularly religious, but I don't know things. But one thing that I've really noticed is this, and I've been repeating to myself, is that you don't fail until you give up. You don't. I spent a lot of years in my middle school and high school. I failed every class in sixth grade, seventh grade, eighth grade. I failed at least one or two classes. I think seventh two, eighth one. I almost didn't have an eighth grade graduation. My freshman year of high school, I failed all my classes. They told me they were going to send me to a secondary school, um, and then I failed every year of every class. My first freshman year of high school, I only graduated college really because of the pandemic. um, and all my classes stay the same. And then my I've had a few classes where my teachers kind of pity graded me to pass, And throughout all of it, I didn't think I was gonna do it. But still, I just kept going. I'm not even gonna say kept trying because there was times that I would just give up, kind of mentally. But I didn't completely give up. I would still push, even if it was barely, even if it was 1 psi of endurance, of pushing, of just keep going. I would still go a little bit, you know? Never just hands up, I give up. And from what I've learned from that is you never fail until you give up. I've been trying to go to the gym probably for almost 2, 3 years now. And it wasn't until this recent year that I was able to kind of more consistently get a schedule in. And I'm still not, and I'm still with all that. There's been weeks I've taken off, months I've taken off, but it's something I want to do. So, one, you don't fail until you give up. And also, two, if you want something, you will do it. You will do it. If you want it, you'll do it. And so don't worry too much and don't invest all this energy and time into guilting yourself into what you didn't do. The past is already the past. There is nothing you can change about that. There's absolutely nothing you can change about the past. No matter how much you pray, no matter how much you hope, no matter how much you manifest, you anything. You can't change the past. It's just happened. In this moment, what I've just said has just happened. Me posting this was already in the past. You hearing this was already in the past. It has already happened and you can't undo it. So all you can do is focus on the present and on the future. So please don't guilt yourself for what you didn't do in the past. Use it as a reason to learn, an example to keep moving forward, and to make better decisions in the future. I've spent the past 5 years um kind of struggling with weed usage. I'll smoke. I would or the Zaza. I don't. Actually, it doesn't matter. I'm not even the Zaza. And so it's been difficult, and for the past year for me, I've been wanting to cut down my usage for the past probably 2 years, 3 years since the pandemic, because it's like I started realizing how badly my usage was in the sense of how I was using it. And it wasn't until I was able to, and I've tried quitting so many times. I have a app called I Am Sober, which is fantastic if you ever need it. It has a bunch of different things that you can have sobriety over, self harm, uh alcohol abuse, substance abuse, or you can have custom things as well. And there's communities that like every milestone and people you can relate to. I really recommend it. But I've restarted the little timer so many times, but I never gave up. You can't give up because then you fail. But until you give up, which you would never will if you really want something, you never will because you'll keep trying even if it's barely, and that's not giving up. I don't know where I was going with that, but you're gonna keep going and it's gonna work out. And it took me years to figure it out, but now I haven't smoked in a month and like 5, 6 days, and I have no urge to. And it's taken a while. It's taken maybe 3 years in the process, but I kept going. And I'm saying all this not to be like, well, I did this, and I did this, and I did this. It's to use an example of someone who you could maybe perceive that in certain situations as hopeless, because I perceived it that way. I have reactions to weed even that it's like I think it's called CHS, but I also have cyclical like throwing up, and it also has to do with my I have anxiety. You know what I mean? But for me, when I would smoke too much and eventually just smoke pretty much, even if it was like for a few days, but when I would smoke too much, I would end up throwing up cyclically for hours at a time until I would have to get admitted to the ER and get an IV in my system. Even if they give me dissolvable nausea tablets, it wouldn't work for me, and I would have to go there. And I've gone there probably like 10 times, and a few times to the actual hospital. But it's taken me throughout all those times, and I was still like mess up or go back to what I felt like I shouldn't be doing, but I know what I wanted to do. I know wanted to stop smoking. I know I wanted to be better, in how I feel, in my choices, and it's taken a while, but I feel like I always had faith that it would happen. And so I'm trying to use myself as an example, not to say that I've done this, I'm better, but to show that you can do it. You can do it. And if you want it, you will do it. If you want it, you will do it. And I'm trying to emphasize that to you. There was one more point I wanted to oh yeah, okay. This is it's the same point, but here's a way to put it. Self-hate is a waste of time. Self-love is an investment. And I know that you know what, corny or not, I don't care. This is how it is. Self-hate is one of the most time-consuming, energy-consuming things, and you don't even realize it until you stop doing it over time, until you practice the absence of self-hate. I didn't even realize how much energy I was spending. You really just don't until you one day realize how much time you're saving. You know what I mean? It's like I could be driving all the time being like, "Well, I'm not good enough. I'm this, I'm that. You know, I'll never be good enough." And I'll never. I had a relationship for about 8 months and impacted my relationship all the time. And I thought that being in a relationship would help, but it ended up being pretty much one of the reasons why we had to split up is because I just needed to work on myself. And part of that has to do with, self love and also lack of self hate. And it's just so energy consuming. I'll be driving down the street just saying all these negative things. And now I can drive down the street in silence. And there's no intruding thoughts being like, you'll never be good enough. You can't do it. Because in my mind, I've already failed and I've already kept going. So did I ever fail to begin with? If you fail and keep going and end up achieving the goals that you've initially set out, did you ever fail? Doesn't that kind of change your own perception of failure? I literally felt as if had a walking F above my head walking through school in middle school and early high school. I swear to you, I swear, and I would say this to people. I don't know who I said it to, but I swear I said it to someone. That I would walk around and it felt like I was a Sims character and I had like, the little diamond, I felt like I had an F above my head. I literally felt in every way and possible shape and form that I was a failure. There were multiple times in my youth that I was like, I do not want to live anymore. But I just kept going barely. And as long as, because I wanted to live. And I couldn't really explain why. I couldn't explain, like, well, I don't know. Nothing felt like I didn't know anything, but I just kept going. I just didn't give up. The lack of giving up is so powerful. And the want that you have within yourself is also so powerful. So I just want to end with this. I believe in you. I really do. I don't think there's a single person. I really can't imagine a person who's unable to achieve a better state of mind. I don't think there's anyone who, if they want something, that they can't achieve it. You know what I mean? It's you're really probably your worst hater. And once you I don't know, once you kind of stop the silliness that is being mean to yourself, things kind of look a little different. You have more time to look around, more time to breathe and just be and think about things that aren't just so negative. And I really do believe. There was one more thing I wanted to say. Hold on. Give me 1 second. Oh, and I just want to emphasize this just one more time. I know I emphasize it lightly, but I really mean this. You are an anomaly. No matter how average you think you are an anomaly. The odds of you being it is zero. It is zero. Like Like, if you were to round it up, it would be so small of a percentage. You had to be a collection of atoms that all came up together. Even then, you were a, like, sperm and egg, and even then, you had to be the right egg and the right sperm that combined at the right time, and even then, you had to so you're already an anomaly in that sense, but then also to be an anomaly to be born in this time period, which in many other time periods you could have been, um, murdered or enslaved or just sick and just died from disease. Like now is such a amazing time to be, and especially in this time in the universe to be. It's so rare. If you were to be a random cluster, if you were to just be your consciousness in the universe and gamble on the odds that you were to be you in this moment, you in this time, in this, even in this century, to be born in this century, it would be impossible. It would be impossible to be on this earth, to be this collection of atoms, and you are the only you that will ever exist, unless it is proven with the parallel universes thing that's real. But you, let's keep it simple. You are the only you that will ever exist. And that is incredible. That is incredible. And it makes me feel like not even wow, I was so stupid for ever thinking about like ending my own life or whatever. But more of wow, I'm happy that now I'm so grateful that I can be able to be grateful for this life, whatever it may teach me. And there's so many hardships that you'll experience in this life, and there's so many difficulties that will come and go. And I know to some people you're like, don't say it. Don't say it's going to be a lesson. Because I've had enough lessons. But it could be a lesson. I don't know. I'm I'm not the oldest person. I'm 21. I don't know if it seems like it. I don't know. It doesn't really matter. You know, I get 10 a lot when I play video games, but I just wanted to share my thoughts on that. I rant a lot on my Instagram story, and I kind of want this to stumble upon just anyone. Uh, I hope. Okay, yeah. If I have another rant, I'll post it. Okay, cool. Believe in yourself. You are possible and capable of anything. You know what? Write down right now, if you can, what you're capable of, not what you're incapable of, and don't restrict yourself. I'm capable of writing of playing an instrument. Like if you wanted to, think about it. If you write down a bunch of things that if you put your mind to it, you could do, and that list will go on forever. Maybe do it now, and maybe do it later when you practice less, less negative self-talk and more praise for yourself. Praise yourself. Cut out negative self-talk. Gradually get into the habit of appreciating yourself and things that you do. That list will grow. Because now I feel like I can do anything, but last year I felt like I probably couldn't do anything. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Okay, bye.